What's good, everybody, and welcome to another book review video. I just finished reading The Burning Queen, which is book 2 in the Ravens trilogy, written by Aparna Verma. It's a South Asian-inspired trilogy, a politically driven fantasy novel. This book has fantasy elements like firebending that a couple of characters can do. It also has sci-fi elements like, blasters, cyborgs, airships. One of the kingdoms literally is a type of people who mine ore to try and make their entire kingdom and their bodies out of metal, things like that, right? So it's a very good blend of fantasy and sci-fi, which you don't you don't always see people here talking. You don't always hear people talking about that. And I, for one, was surprised when I first read the first book, The Phoenix King. I finished The Burning Queen in a much better mood than when I finished The Phoenix King, right? So after I read The Phoenix King, I was in this weird mode of, I don't know if I like this book or not. I don't know how I feel about it. It's really weird when I finish a book like that. And I ended up having to talk through it with Tim Fasciola, author of Eventual Round, one of my friends. We talked it over on our book club. We even interviewed the author, Aparna Verma, over Phoenix King. And then after talking with both of them, I was like, yeah, I really dig this series. It is first and foremost a political fantasy. I will say that, right? The crux of the conflicts is kingdoms, queendoms, and politics, wars, etc. Where usually I would stray away from books like that, but this one kept me hooked in, which is odd to say the least, because I don't care about that stuff usually, but this time I did. And that's cool. That's cool to me. That's what I'm saying, right? It's cool. It's interesting how this series sucked me in. I mean, I made a t-shirt design for the characters in the book, for crying out loud, right? This is Elena, who is the female main character, the queen of the Ravani kingdom, and she is reading a book and trying to wield fire, which she has trouble doing in book 1. And then this is Yasun, who at the beginning of book 1 gets his arm burned and then has this like fear of fire, which is why he's flinching away from her attempts at wielding fire. I thought the design was cute in between. I made it for the author. I hope she likes it when she gets the shirt that I sent her. I ended up making a design for book 2 as well. So let's talk about The Burning Queen, okay? So when I first opened the book, I was pretty upset by what I saw because I noticed there was a certain POV that was missing from book 2 that was in book 1. And I immediately texted the author. I said it was a very bold move to remove one of the POVs because it's one of the characters I really like. And she said, well, yeah, but they're there in spirit throughout the entire book. And I get why. I can't really, I would be a spoiler if I said anything further than that. But I do get why, and it's more clear when you read through the book and get to the end of the book as to why it was like that. So this book mainly centers around 2 of the 3 characters that were in book 1. Now, I have to say, the marketing around the book can be a little bit of a misdirection because while The Burning Queen specifically is really focused on this toxic romance between the 2 characters, it's not a toxic romance for the sake of being toxic for a really shitty romance, as a lot of regular romantasy books are. This is not a romantasy book, right? This is a fantasy with romance subplots and sub-elements, and the toxicity of these 2 characters towards each other plays a part in how the politics of the world kind of shake out, right? If they're okay with each other, things are going okay. If they're not okay with each other, things are going a bit awry. That's a lie. Things go very, very awry in this entire book. But that's where I didn't find this toxic, destructive relationship between the 2 characters, annoying or bothersome. I think it did slow down at some points in the book because of it, which, some readers might appreciate those moments. I personally didn't, because that's just not what I read the book for. But I at least appreciated what was going on between the characters, what the author was trying to do, and at least continuing to constantly tie it into the politics, which is the main driver of the conflict in this story. Because there were many times in this book that I was like, I just need them to talk it out and make up so we can have some good shit going on. But then there's many times in the story when I was like, I need them to stop talking to each other and just do their own thing and keep the story going on. And neither was happening. And I was like, oh my God, you're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. Forget the characters in the book. They're going to kill me with their antics. Which, if you're making a reader feel that way, I think it says a lot about the book in general. And I will say I definitely took my time with this one. I found myself every couple of chapters kind of like closing it, pausing for a little bit, and then coming back to it like an hour later, 2 hours later, later in the day, etc. Just because I kind of wanted to. I didn't want it to. I didn't want to finish it so quickly, and I actually wanted to kind of process how things are going, how I'm feeling throughout the book. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Am I enjoying it, etc. So I can say, finishing the book, I was like, yeah, I liked it. I once again also messaged the author. I said, I know this is the bane of all authors' existences, so I'm going to ask the question anyway, when is book 3 coming out? I don't have a good answer for you guys about that. So you and I are going to have to wait. And while we wait, I will continue just to pump out designs for the characters of this book, because I already have a design based on book 2 that's already being made right now. This is a design based on book 1. I have a design based on book 2 coming out. And I will finish off by saying this. I'm a very big fan of all 3 of the characters in the story. There is a 4th one. I don't really care for her as much, but I do really care about Yasun. I really care about Samson, and I really care about Elena. Technically in that order. I don't know why, right? It might just be because I'm a man, and so I want to be on the man's side. But I really care about Yasun, Samson, and then Elena. You know, it is what it is. That's just how it shakes out, right? And I don't know, maybe she'll introduce another character in book 3, hopefully. Because at this point we have a cast of about maybe 4 characters to follow. I don't know if she's going to stick with those 4 for book 3 or introduce a 5th one, take away one, keep it at 4. I don't know, but I can tell you that I can definitely trust her to still deliver on a good story, even if the character POVs kind of are a bit more than usual. Because book 1 had 3 POVs, book 2 has 3 POVs technically, and so we'll see how book 3 shakes out. Now, I did forget to mention at the beginning of the video, but this was an arc. The book comes out in November, but Aparna and her team were very gracious in approving an arc for me, and so I got to read it early, and I'm super excited about that because there's too many books to read, and I'm glad I got to read this one early, so I can tell you that if you haven't read The Phoenix King, you should go out and get it right now. Because I love every time I'm scrolling TikTok and I just come across people who are now reading The Burning Queen for the first time, and they're like, oh my god, this book is so fire. And I'm like, you're so right. You're so correct in your assessments. This book is fire. This book is very flames. This book is very fuego. And I just want to help get this book to as many people as I can. Just so that this author keeps writing books, obviously. I need her to keep writing books. Even if it's not like this, I need her to keep writing books. And so she needs people to get to like her books, to read her books, to buy the books, and I need to be a part of that thing. So, you know, this is a big thank you to Aparna and her team for the arc, and letting you guys know that if you do pick up The Phoenix King and The Burning Queen, make sure to read them, tell your friends about it. If you can, if you're one of those people, definitely post a review, because it helps authors a lot when you post reviews to Amazon, Goodreads, Storygraph, on your socials, tag them in the review so they can reshare it. It really goes a long way to spread news about a really good book. And if you do end up reading this book based on this recommendation, just let them know Entro sent you. Okay, let them know Entro sent you, and that probably won't do anything for you, but it'll do a lot for me. So if you're generous and just kind-hearted, just let them know Entro sent you. Now, that was a spoiler-free review of The Burning Queen, not to be confused with The Burning Man, which is apparently a music festival that had a dust storm recently. There are no dust storms in this story, only firestorms. If you want to stick around for a little bit more of a spoiler review, feel free to, but if not, take it easy. If you're new here, subscribe, comment down below what you're reading currently, share this video with someone who you think would like it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Dude, we have to talk about how, while I care about Elena and Samson, I don't give a fuck if Yasun's not there. Okay, I don't give a fuck that Samson loves Yasun more than a brother, and Elena loves Yasun more than a bodyguard, and they both see figments of him in their imagination because he died apparently at the end of book 1, supposedly. I never believed that, because there's no way you're killing off a central character of your book like that. You're not, you're not George R.R. Martin, so thankfully. But I was like, where the fuck is my guy in this book? And he wasn't in this book. He literally wasn't in this book. I was so sad. I literally looked at the table of context and I did not see his name until the end. Where like usually authors will put that little epilogue end thing in there where like, oh my god, this is where he's been. this entire time. And I'm like, fuck, damn it, I'm not a fan. So I was going into it a little bit skeptical. I definitely went into the book a little bit more skeptical. And listen, the book is still really good, right? Do I enjoy the toxic relationship, political romance between Samson and Elena? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I will be honest. Sometimes it really works for me and I enjoy the back and forth. Sometimes it's really frustrating to read it. I don't care for them to have a good time. I care for them to get shit done. And if they're not getting shit done, I'm annoyed. But that's me. I'm not the most romantic guy, to be honest, right? I'm not the most romantic guy. So the book is good. The book is definitely really good. I think, like, here's the thing, right? Where book one was really heavy on the politics and only like teased you a little bit with the firebending, this entire book is about firebending. Like, literally, this entire book is literally Samson versus Elena in many cases, and or Samson and Elena in many cases, or Samson and Elena away from each other. Like, it's just them controlling their fire, learning their fire, developing their fire, stealing each other's fire, like learning about how their inner Agni works. And while it's cool, I think it was definitely cool, right? There were definitely quite a few moments like Samson and Elena have their own version of like the Agni Kai from Avatar. It felt like Elena had her own version of the fire and air dance that Zuko and Aang did, and I think like sees in like book 4 or 5 or something like that of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think there was like one of those moments in there which were really interesting. There was a scene when Elena, or Aparna, put her own version of like holy in the book, but it's just like red coloring that they sling on each other to like represent their faith to the Phoenix goddess. And Elena convinced Samson to let the city of Rani hold the ceremony. And so there's a scene where he's like walking up through the crowd in this white kurta with his like black hair, stubble, black beard type shit. He like, most of the book, Samson gave me Ranveer Singh from Padmavat vibes, because we know that he has ulterior motives, but unlike Ranveer Singh and Padmavat, I don't think Samson is inherently evil like him, but he was, I think, giving off those vibes in many cases where like people lord over him and he's like, yes, I'm here to take advantage of you. That is quite literally what I'm here. I'm here to take advantage of you. I don't care about you like that. I care about my people, and that's it. So there were some really interesting moments where she really did dive into this South Asian culture that she's about, right? She definitely brought in these moments that, like, if you're about that life, you'll pick up on these things. If you're not about that life, you'll still be interested in the scene and things like that, right? It's just something extra for people who watched Bollywood in the past, or in book one, grew up with South Asian parents and things like that. So I think she really gets it, and it's not in your face, obviously, right? It's not like, she's not like very explicit with all of these things. It's all undertones, all like subtext, all like read between the lines, which I really appreciate. Politics in here were great. She really opened up the world in a really good way. We actually get to travel to all the places, or not all the places, but a good amount of the places that we only heard about in book one, and places that we hadn't heard about in book one. She took us to a goddamn Bermuda Triangle, for crying out loud, right? She put a lot into this book. And I can only say that it was good. I can really only say that it was a good book. I think I liked Phoenix King better than Burning Queen because Yasin was still in there. I think generally that's why. If he was in the book at least a little bit more in this one, I would have liked it a lot more. But there's a reason why he wasn't in the book, and that gets told to you later on at the end of the book. I don't want to spoil that for anybody until they read it, and then we can talk about it. So yeah, I mean, this book is really good. If you haven't read it, I would highly recommend going to pick up The Phoenix King, read The Phoenix King, buy The Burning Queen when it comes out in November, and really enjoy a good, politically driven fantasy sci-fi novel that has elements of firebending and metal men cyborging in there. That's a very bad way to. This is why I'm not a marketer, because I'm really bad at these like blurb type things. But I think it's a banger book for Bollywood bros and women. No, that's not good either. What's a good fake blurb that we can put in this video to see to like if eventually she sees this, she'll be like, oh my god, that's like, I could put that in a book, and I'd be like, please don't. What about an engaging, politically driven sci-fi fantasy novel that blends not only the worlds of firebending and metal men, but also the two worlds of South Asian stories with a Western like delivery? No, that's not it. I'll workshop that. Maybe I'll come up with something at some point. But yeah, dude, great book. Aparna knocked out of the park, in my opinion. I'm hoping for book 3 for more Yasun, which he will be, obviously. But until then, we can only enjoy these 2 books. Go read this book. Go read The Burning Queen. If you have read it, let me know what you think about it. If you haven't read it, go pick it up, read it, review it, let them know Entro sent you, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.